Hi, I'm D. Revati. My thesis topic is Green Integrated Township. I want to start my topic with the need for the township. So, a green building places a high priority on health, environmental, and resource conservation performance over its life cycle. Major innovations took place with advent of green building concept. To have green building concept, we should look after the following: the optimum use of energy power, water conservation, solid and water waste management, its treatment and reuse, energy efficient transport system, and finally efficient building system planning. If all the buildings in the urban areas were made to adopt green building concepts, India could save more than 8400 megawatts of power, which is enough to light half of Delhi or 5.5 lakh homes a year, according to the estimates by Terry. So this is a graph which shows the energy consumption by the building sector is 30%, and most of it was occupied by residential. That is why my study focus is on residential, and non-residential is 8%. So further, we look about CO2 emissions. So, according to the United Nations Environment Program, together building and construction are responsible for 39% of all carbon emissions in the world, with operational, which is direct operational emissions, accounting for 28%, and the remaining 11% comes from the embodied carbon emissions or upfront carbon that is associated with materials and construction processes throughout the whole building life cycle. So this graph is the evidence for it, which shows the building and construction sector is responsible for 28% of the operational emission, and 11% of it was by the embodied carbon emissions in the residential sector. So however, when building sector's electricity demand growth is accounted for, the net result is that building related emissions from upstream power have remained practically constant since 2010. So there is a Paris Agreement with ambitions of building sector energy carbon intensities, which is need to be decreased to less than 20 tons of carbon dioxide per terajoule before 2050. But in this map, it is recorded that the energy carbon intensities in the India is greater than 150 tons carbon dioxide per terajoule. So, which is a serious condition. So they came up with the behind 2 degree scenario, which is achieved by the low carbon solutions, adoption of highly efficient and low carbon solutions for buildings and construction, and widespread application of building energy codes, broad scale renovation of existing building stocks, aggressive deployment of high performance technologies, and a strategic shift away from fossil fuel use in the buildings. So they came up with a graph which shows the carbon dioxide emissions getting higher in the 2010 to 2020, from 6 to nearly 10, that can be reduced below 2 degrees by using indirect power in 2060, by using indirect power and choosing good technology performance and correct technology choice, and the building envelope improvement. So direct emission reduction, these hatches are indicated as direct emissions reduction. So due to the envelope improvement, they are reduced this much, and due to the technology choice, they are reduced this much, and due to the technology performance, they are reduced this much. So this is the aim of the Paris Agreement. So first one is building envelope improvement. Building envelope design, materials and construction all have a large influence on heating and cooling loads in buildings, which represented nearly 3.5 GT carbon dioxide of emissions from the buildings in 2015. So the transition to building sustainable buildings needs assertive implementation and enforcement of building energy codes for new construction across all countries. It also requires an aggressive scaling up of deep building energy renovations of the existing global stock. Then the technology choice. There is two things. Technology. First of all, we look at the technology choice importance has a ripple effect on the type of energy and the total energy consumed in the buildings. So there are two graphs showing final energy used by equipment type and equipment shares. In this, you have amount of energy savings due to what in the year. So in the 2014, the energy usage was due to fossil fuel, higher percentages of fossil fuel equipments, conventional electric equipment, efficient electric equipment were very lesser, and the district heating and cooling and renewables were much lesser than the conventional electric equipment. So this was totally changed with the vision of 2060 to reduce the fossil fuel equipments by the lesser amount, and also the conventional electric equipment, and by using efficient electric equipment greater amounts, and also the district heating, cooling and the renewables higher at the higher levels. So next, the equipment shares. This is given in percentage. This is a percentage split up of this graph, this equipment shares. So like I said, the fossil fuel equipment is going to be reduced, usage is going to be reduced over the years, and also the conventional electric equipment, and the efficient electric equipment is going to be increased to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. And also district heating and cooling is also going to be increased slightly, and also the use of renewables also used in the higher percentage. This is the technology choice they are going to they have chosen to achieve the below 2 degrees Celsius scenario. And finally, the technology performance. Improving technology performance is a key component of the transition to sustainable buildings. Efficiency improvements, including building envelope measures, represents nearly 2,400 EJ in cumulative energy offsets to 2060, more than all the final energy consumed by the global buildings. So yet, concerted effort is needed to support research and development, best practice sharing and international collaboration to accelerate the development of better buildings technologies and bring them to market at affordable price. And in the coming decades, the survival of humanity will depend on our ecological literacy and our ability to understand basic principles of ecology and to live according. So, in a green building, there are three major things usually. So, there is a water efficiency. We have to look on the water efficiency, energy efficiency, and the waste management. If we solve these three things in our design, it is it is considered as a green building concept. So next we move on to comparative analysis of case studies. So I have done 4 case studies: ITC Bhadrachalam, Andhra Pradesh; DCIL TSET Homes Bangalore; ETA Tech City at Sri Perambatoor; Luxury Villas at Kolapak. So ETA Tech City at Sri Perambatoor is a 82 acres project, and the concept is based on the 11 clinch principle. They created a path, and they created an entrance and the central node, and they created green landmark, and then the districts of residential and commercial buildings, and then they created a luxury villa district, luxury residential district along the lake, and they finally created a neighborhood. So neighborhood has a central green space, or each neighborhood has a central green space. This is the concept of ETA Tech City. And whereas the luxury villas have a good amount of natural ventilation, up to 108 lux, which is more than enough for a eye vision. This is enough to lit a space, and good amount of cross ventilation, good design of cross ventilation is carried out in all the floors. So this was the concept of luxury villas, and it is a green rated building, IGBC green rated gold rated building. And ITC Bhadrachalam has a concept of clustering inspired from the neighborhood clustering system. So it is made same as the neighborhood clustering system, and the corridor is considered as a thread, and the blocks are considered as bead. So they named it as thread and bead concept. And here BCIL TSET Homes Bangalore, they use low carbon emissive materials, and also it is a zero water site where they don't need water from outside. They use their own water, and they recycle them and reuse them and harvest them, and harvest them and use them in a whole cycle. They don't need extra water from outside. That is the specialty of this site. Then site plan analysis. It almost since there is the site area is bigger, almost all the site has 2 entries and a service entry, and all the major roads and the wide roads are always aligned on the north south orientation, and the blocks were oriented on east west direction, so that the longer facade faces north and south, and the solar radiation exposure of the vertical surfaces of the east and west were lesser, and so that the cooling effects for cooling the space is lesser. So floor plan analysis. So the blocks are designed as a back to back cluster with a vertical core in both opened case and the closed type case, and the blocks were oriented east west also to channelize the wind direction, where the wind direction is from west to east. So on all the plants. And materials and colors, they have used sustainably local materials, low VOC and fly ash bricks, which has low low transmitters of solar energy and low U value. So here, and they have in the site they have used low carbon emission materials, and here they used fly ash blocks, and they have used low volatile organic compound gypsum paints. Soil type and orientation. So the site streets are oriented, as I said, oriented north and south direction majorly, and lesser east and west oriented street to reduce the heat gains through those streets. And this also gives an impact on the UHI effects. So this is a very major point from the soil type and orientation. Site analysis. The site is one of the South Chennai's most exciting addresses, sitting at the heart of the IT hub. Sholingnallur, which is rapidly emerging as one of the Chennai's bright spot. It has close vicinity to educational institutes, fun and entertainment, hospitals, and business hubs. It is included in the moderate damage risk zone, which is liable to MSK 7 and also 7.8. The IS code assigns zone factor of 0.16 for zone 3, and the selection criteria is they have land availability and access to road network. And this is a 20 kilometer and 10 kilometer circle from the site. So we have Guindy and Central Railway Station, CMBT and Central Railway Station outside the 20 kilometer circle. And inside, in between the 10 and 20 kilometer circle, we have airport and Guindy Junction, and also this Apollo Hospital and fun and entertainment. And inside the 10 kilometer circle, we have junctions like Sholingnallur, Medavakkam, and Siriseri. And this is the site. White is the site. And there is fun and entertainment like Vivera Mall and the ECR beach. So Satyabama universities are there, and the schools, orange color are schools, which are SPB Millennium, JS Global School, BVM Global School, HLC International School, in 2 to 4 kilometers, and there are business hubs, Infosys, Accenture, HCL, Wipro, and TCS near it. This is a plus point for them, for a township. And this is the topography of the land, and there is a existing drain throughout the internal road. This is an internal road which leads to the site, and this is the main road. And this is slight side slope. These are the lower points in the site, and these are higher points in the site. So I have not changed the natural side slope in the design. Instead, I just raised this corner because getting the site drains into this corner is no use. So I will raise this slope up and make this only as a lowest point in the site, and get all the water from the site get collected here and created a pond here, and the pond acts as a recharge pit. And since it has a sand, you can see It has a sandy soil here and hard rock here. The pond comes in the sandy soil, so it is easier to penetrate inside. So after the excess water will be get drained into the existing drain through a culvert or a pipeline below. So sun path is east to west along the south, and the prevailing wind is from southwest to northeast, and the monsoon winds were from northeast to southwest. And elevation is 2 meter, and slope, as I said, two low points are there, and we have treated with an idea. And trees found are eucalyptus, neem, and gulmohar. So uh, these trees were planted for the new proposal also, to not to disturb the topsoil. If we provide the same vegetation which exits, the topsoil won't be disturbed, which retains the mother earth. So these are site surroundings, and these are site, and these pictures are access to site from 2 story. So for a township in Sholingnallur, for the site justification, I have analyzed social social strategy, scope, and workers profile, and also the literacy. So in a social analysis, there is a population increase in the male and the female population uh, over the years. So this is total population. In the total population, there are more number of Hindus and Christian, and less than Hindu. Yes, there are Christians, and less than Hindu and Christian there are Muslims, and least is all of others. And there is a scope for the site for the residential project, because there is an upcoming Tamil Nadu government's TNHP satellite township with IT parks, RTL roads, schools, parks, playgrounds, and bus terminals. And also there is a upcoming building currently which is built by DLF currently, which has a 3,500 apartment complex. So workers profile. Sholingnallur has 40% population engaged in main and marginal works. Male 59 and female 22 population are working population. There are non-workers also. So the proposed project can even facilitate works for the non-workers with along the literacy rate and literacy they have. So there was an increase in the literacy over years. This also gives an evidence for the scope for the project in the site. So coming up to the concept and the zoning of the project. The main concept is the township is majorly divided into 3 major zones. High density zone 30% and having 7,040 people as population, and medium density zone 10% and 672 people as a population, and low density zone 20% and 49 people as a population. Total target is 8,261 population. High density zone form. So high density zone form is first started up with a basic form and divided into equal cubes, and those cubes are distorted outside and pushed out outside to give a distorted feeling, which in enthusiasm they are popping out from normal basic form. That was the concept. And medium dense for a medium density form, it is commercial plus residential, which is a mixed use. There is a commercial floor in the ground floor, and all the other floors are residential. This is the concept of medium density zone. And low density zone form is usually they have adjacent zoning of private and public, or public in the bottom and the private spaces on the top. So people in these type of zoning, they will be eager to go up and look on the terraces and views, so they have to go through the private spaces. So that to reduce to change that and to avoid that, I have changed private to the bottom and the public to the up, and given a terrace space on the public zone, and the main entrance is given into the public zone. So the private space, to reduce the staircase height and the walking height, the private zone is pushed inside the ground for 4 feet, and the private zone remains very private from the public. So grouping concept of the high density zone is based on the wind flow. So with the wind flow, as I said, natural ventilation on the site level, alternatively placing is the best option, and I have placed alternatively, and by creating a central open space used for the communal interaction, for a playground or a playground and gathering space, which will give a good view and good ventilation, and there will be a enormous amount of ventilation, and it will be equal walking distances from all the towers. So this is divided form. This is how divided form, and this is basic form, this is divided, and this is distorted final form. So this is how it is placed now. So this is bubble diagram. There are 3 entries, 2 main entries and one separate entry for low density block. I haven't included it since it is a secondary entry, and there is a separate service entry. So from the main entry, we have entry to the community hall, low density block, economically weaker section, and medium density block, high density block, parking, healthcare, boutique, supermarket, office and business center, daycare, clubhouse. So the service entry gives way to parking, AC plant, sewage treatment plant, DBR. And these services like AC plant, sewage treatment plant, EBR have connections to the services of the residential zone, which are amenities. And with the proximity chart, I have came up with the zoning. So since we have a lesser distance on the main road, abutting main road, I have given main entry through the secondary road, since the traffic also will be lesser, and it will be easier to divert them from the secondary road. And then since I am creating a pond and a retention pond here, I have given it as a OSR 10% here. And from the main entry, we have access to community hall, health center, supermarket and boutique, daycare, clubhouse and business center, medium density zone, and then EWS, and also the high density zone and clubhouse, and to the low density zone, and it has a separate entry from the main road to reduce the distance from the main entry to the low density zones, since the site slope is not changed due to the collection of the collection of the rainwater here. It is a very big long road to get into the low density zone, so a separate secondary entry is given here, and there is a service entry from the main road, from the service lane. There is a service lane in the main road, thus it helps for the secondary entry and the service entry, and all the services are lined up at the back to service the facilities in the township. This is the site plan of the of a plot in the low density zone, which is 18 feet by 12 feet, and they have two separate entries, pedestrian and vehicular entry with a ramp and a step, and the ramp leads to car parking, and there ends the driveway, and pathway leads to gazebo and koi pond backside, and again with a stepping stone they can come into the entrance of a building. This entrance is for the staircase. Here they step up for a staircase to enter the public space on the top, and they have a covered, semi-covered dining space and a terrace here. So that's it. We'll go on to the plan. So this is the ground floor. This is the private space with a circular staircase which is from the first floor, and it have a sleeping space, a studio space, and a bathroom, and and it is below the ground level at 4 feet, so 1.2 meters below the ground floor. And on the first floor we have the step entry from the ground level, and we have a seating here for the visitors, and a shoe rack below it, and we have a living and then kitchenette next to it. And when we come outside, we have a outdoor dining. There's a long window to just push up and use the kitchenette together, not to come across the living all the time. This is given. So then the spiral staircase leads to the private space downside, and there's a bevel bed all over the covered terrace to get the rainwater collected, and there is a raised deck here, and this is the elevation. Gray painting is given to highlight the dining area, and wooden louvers are created for the shading of the windows and ventilators for the private space. And spiral staircase area is highlighted, emphasized with the wooden cladding. So same. French door is given. There's a deck floor and pebble bed all around, and there's a spiral staircase and wash here, and toilet space is here, and kitchenette cabinets are here. There's a long window to access kitchenette and the dining area simultaneously. This is the view. So this is a spiral staircase area, which has a wooden, which has emphasized with the wooden finish, and a long slab has been extruded to highlight dining area. Also, the wall is given as a gray to have a good vision on the dining area, and shading is given the wooden fence, and there's a car parking, and there's a gazebo with a seating, and there's a koi pond here, and pathway goes along through it to enjoy the koi pond. And this is a staircase which leads to the public area upside. So this is the main door. This is the kitchen, sorry, living window. This is the staircase which leads to the main door, and this is the pedestrian entry. This is vehicular entry. Gazebo and koi pond and other landscape features are here. So now let's look on the site plan. So this is the site plan. We have main two entrance plazas and secondary entry here and the service entry here, and there's a community hall with a paved area and a planting area. The planting is done separate for each streets, and all the streets looks unique with trees planted. Since this area is planted with gulmohar, and these are planted with copper pot. The main road is planted with copper pot to welcome all the people with the yellow bright flowering trees. And here gulmohar red is planted to have a different color commercial space. And the inside we have given neem and eucalyptus. Eucalyptus are given along the swale areas and water content areas where you collect the water of the site. So there is a slope here, this small swale which leads to this water water pond. And there are drains all along the streets to collect all the rainwater and get them into the pond. And the excess water is let out using a culvert to the main existing drain. And there's health center, supermarket, and office business center, clubhouse, and swimming pool and daycare housed here. And mediums and density blocks are here, and alternatively placed towers are here with a central play area and a gathering space. And there's also 2 here to have a open space here, and we have restricted building area here to just not to block the wind for the blocks, residential high rise blocks. And we have vertical parking for the people live in the towers, and these are visitors parking. And for the medium zone we have parking in the ground floor, and also the shops lined all the 3 sides of the road. And we have services lined up at the back. We have a lorry parking and garbage disposal pit, and store STP, and this STP have a capacity of 350 KLD, which is more than the water requirement of the whole township. So it can recycle all the water, all the used up water. And there's transformer yard and trees, contours. There's a jogging track and a pathway all around the pond, and there's a overlooking deck, 2 overlooking deck at each entrances. And there's a play area for the kids, and here also the play area for the kids. And they have a separate low density zone, have a separate clubhouse, and there is a long EWS block. And so finally the passive strategies at the site level were followed up. So blocks oriented on the north-south orientation, which is where the longest facade face north and south orientation just to reduce the solar radiation exposure of the east and west wall, since these are the facades which expose to higher solar radiations. So the lesser facades were oriented towards east and west, and the longer facades were oriented north and south to reduce the solar gain, and so that the building temperature is maintained minimum. And in the tower, since they all have equal facades on all the sides, we just placed alternatively for the wind direction, prevailing wind direction. So this also at the 45-degree orientation we have wind direction, so that wind flows through all the sides and all the places in the building. This is the side section. So there is a retention pond here. So there is a retention point here. This is the elevation of EWS, and this is a clubhouse. This is a medium density zone section, and this is clubhouse, and this is office, and this is high density zone tower and parking below. And this is a site shadow analysis. So the most of the site doesn't have, in the front doesn't have shadow on all throughout the highest peak hours of the sun, except two towers in front and one tower in the medium zone. All the other towers and the blocks enjoy shadow of the front towers. So on the peak hours, peak times of the sun. So yeah, 60% of the roof area was allotted for the solar PV panels and the solar water heating systems. And insulated roofs were used to cool the interior space and to reject the solar radiation getting inside the room. So this is during summer solstice and winter solstice and the equinox. This is a view from the low density zone, and this is high density towers, medium density blocks, EWS, and these are low density zone. This is overall site view with a pond and OSR and EWS. We have swimming pool, daycare area, and supermarket and boutique, community hall, and healthcare center, and clubhouse, and a central play area for the high density zone. And there's just a low density zone, separate entry for them, and a separate entry for the services, the main two entries. So this is the side view. So next let's move on to medium density zone. So this is the ground floor. These are main roads. This is service road. This is service road. This is the main road, and then we have parking from the main road on one side, and all the other three sides have shops and security cabin, office, storage, and toilets. So the storage and the office is lined in the western side to have a facility of the service lane to them. So the loads get unloaded here, and it is transferred to the storage here, and there's a lift space for the people, and there is two staircase to access the upper area, and these are long pavements for the commercial space. Yeah, that's it. There's a planting area in between. This gives a very unique feeling, unique interactive space. It creates a unique interactive space inside the township. Usually, townships will be very vast, and there won't be people gatherings and all very frequently. But this street will won't look like a street of a township. It will be interactive and active always. So this creates a good active space always, and and it rejects the uh, uh, spaces which are unused for unused uh, mostly the spaces, all the spaces in the township will be remained unused, and there goes the design very on the negative side, so that won't happen here. So yeah, each shop has a service entry backside and the main access from the pedestrian from the front. So this is the typical layout for the medium density zone. So we have a service code here. There is a service lift here, and main importance is given to the service lift, and the other lifts are located that side, and the corridor leads to um, 12 blocks, 12 units with 3 BHK and 2 BHK and only 1 BHK flats, and there is a ventilation through the corridors also. This is a fire exit staircase, and yeah, this side we have 3 BHK, 2 3 BHK, and 3 2 BHK and 1 BHK flat. So from this we have living and dining, and we have a kitchen, bedroom, common toilet and utility, and a master bedroom, and a touch toilet, and a balcony for them. And this is a single bedroom flat which has a living and dining, a kitchen, a toilet, and utility, and then a bedroom and a attached toilet and a balcony. And coming to this 2 BHK flat, we have living and dining, bedroom, kitchen, and master bedroom with attached toilet and balcony, and we have a utility for kitchen and a common toilet. So this side we have living and a separate dining, and a balcony space for the ventilation of the dining area, and for the living we have ventilation through window, and for the master bedroom we have ventilation through balcony, and we have attached toilet, and we have a kitchen here, and another two bedrooms with attached toilet, with one attached toilet and one common toilet, and a balcony for each. And for this flat we have a foyer, and we have living and dining, and we have a master bedroom with attached toilet, and there's a long window for the ventilation of the living and dining. We have a bedroom, we have a kitchen, and that's it, and a balcony and utility for kitchen. Then this flat also have a foyer and living and dining and bedroom with attached toilet, and there is a OTS for the ventilation of the toilets and the plumbing pipelines for the toilets, and there is a big OTS for the ventilation of dining. There's a master bedroom and kitchen. So moving on to this, these are typical layouts, one with OTS and others and all with openings, large openings. And these also a typical layout which has living and dining with a simple partition, and a bedroom and a master bedroom with a attached toilet and a balcony, and a kitchen with utility and a common toilet. That's all with the medium density zone. And this is the longitudinal section of the medium density zone. There's openings on all the corridors, and there's a parking in the basement, and there are shops here, and these are driveway.